Hello, hello. We are doing your first workflow in the n8n documentation. So we are going to be scheduling a trigger, going to the NASA API, getting some data, having an if statement. Depending on the data we get, we'll send it to a post bin in the true category, or we're going to send it to a post bin in the false category. And that is it. So why don't we get started? The first thing we're going to do is create a new workflow. So what we're going to do is go to the home page and create a workflow. And voila, we got our first workflow. We're on step 2 now, trigger node. So there's a bunch of different triggers. You can trigger it manually. We are going to be doing a schedule trigger. And so you can schedule the trigger so it runs every second, minute, days, hours. We'll just run it every week and every 1 week. And instead of on Sunday, we're going to run it on Monday. We love Mondays. And then we can trigger it any hour we want or any minute. And then we are done with the schedule trigger. So now it'll trigger once a week on Monday. So now we are on to the next step, add a NASA node. So the first thing we're going to do is go to this NASA API, link in the description below. You're going to click on here, just fill out this information, and then what it's going to do is going to send an API key to your email. I already have the API key right here, so I don't have to do that, but it takes a second. Then we're going to go back to our workflow, and we're going to click on add a node, and we're going to go to NASA, and then we're going to be going to the API that is get a donkey solar flare. So it's built in for us, so we don't have to do anything. I already added the API key, but you would just create a new credential, add the key that we just copied, hit save, and that is ready to go. So now we're going to add something called an expression. So the expression will basically filter out specific data we want. We are going to be filtering it so that we only get data at a start date 7 days ago. So we're going to go to add a field. We're going to do start date. You can also do end date. We're going to go to expression. You can also choose like a fixed date if you want, but we're going to go to expression. And then this is our own thing. And then we can change this to other dates. We're going to say 10 days. So we get a little bit more data. And then once we hit test step, this will test it. We have the information, and these are the most recent solar flares from the API. Congratulations, we are developing. So now we're going to go back to Canvas. And now we are on to the next step, which is add logic with the if node. So we're going to say here, add a node. We're going to say if statement, and then we're going to say if the class type, and you can grab any information that you want. So if it has after a certain date or whatever. But for in this case, we have this string called the class type. So, and we're going to say if the class type contains the value of m, and right now this one does, then this is an example of what information we're getting, then it will filter that data. Okay, so then if we hit test step, it will filter the data. So previously we had 8 pieces of information in here, and there's different class types. Right now we have M and C, and so all the M class types went up, and then if it was not an M class type, it goes down to this node. So now we're going to do something with the data. We are now at step 5, output data from your workflow. So what we're going to do is use something called postbin. Basically, it's a service that basically displays data on a web page. So if you go to postbin, we're going to create a new bin, and we're going to grab the bin ID. So we're going to copy that. Now we're going to go back and go to add a node. We're going to say post bin. And what we're going to do is want to send a request to a post bin. So we're going to send the data to this temporary web page. And inside the bin, we are going to add our own little data. So we're going to want to send a class type, and we're going to say the class type is blank. And then so if we test step, it will send the class type to the post bin. So before this has nothing in it, and now it has data. Back inside our workflow, we can also look inside the expression and see what the result is. So the class type is M1.7. So now what we're going to do is copy and paste this. So if you want to do something else, you would copy and paste it, and we add the node. So if it's false, then we'll also send it to the same post bin. But you could change the post bin ID or do whatever you want with that. And then we are going to test our entire workflow. So that was a manual trigger. We get the data and we'll send it to the same postbin in the true or false. And congratulations, that's the first automation workflow. And if you want to activate it, you can click this button right here. So now it will trigger once a week.